everybody, welcome back. This is some family drama that's next level. I will never complain about my family again. Crazy family story time that ends up in a massive fight.
Y'all, the family drama that just happened at my brother's birthday party, I cannot even explain to you. This is exactly why men cannot make decisions about abortion. So my uncle and I are just having a casual conversation. It turns into a little political, and we're having a regular conversation, like it's fine, no one's getting annoyed or whatever. And then all of a sudden we start talking about abortion. Long story short, I was just trying to explain to him the basic facts because, you know, like regular men, like they don't really research the facts. They just kind of want to regurgitate their half-baked opinions. So I'm giving him the statistical breakdowns, like, yeah, like not everything that is like funded and given towards like Planned Parenthood and all of that doesn't always go towards just abortions. It goes towards pap smears, cancer screenings, all these other things. So I'm giving him the breakdown and statistics and everything, right? And I'm like, well, are you actually willing to support the child? He's like, I don't want to pay for the child to be aborted. I'm like, okay, well, can you support them through, you know, feeding them, clothing them, housing them, and all of that, like as they grow to be adults? And he's like, no, I don't want to pay for that either. And I'm like, well, you have to choose one because obviously, like, the child will be born or they're not going to be born. And, like, either way, like, they're going to need some form of support. So, like, you have to do one or the other.
All right, I'm going to read this. Keep in mind, my uncle was a deadbeat, did the bare minimum to raise his children. My grandpa was deployed and not able to be there, which I was understanding of because he was serving his country. Despite this, he had 5 children he could not afford, and the mother had mental health issues and was not able to raise them herself. They all ended up addicts and are in mental facilities and are in and out of jail. Continue, my dear.
And obviously one is going to be more of a lifelong commitment that takes a lot more money. And then my grandpa comes in screaming at us, just angry that we're even talking about the subject. And I was like, oh, like, I didn't even realize that you were upset about this and you can really like listen to us. These two get so upset and start crying, and then they go outside and they start arguing, and they literally decide to leave the party because they are just so upset. But me over here, sitting as a 24-year-old woman who this does impact, that maybe if God forbid one day if I do need an abortion, this does affect me, I can have a conversation with you. But you two grown men cannot sit there, have a conversation, and get through a basic birthday party. Sounds like you're too emotional to make these decisions about what happens to my body. Thank you.
I mean, listen, everybody has polarizing opinions about abortion, all right? I'm not gonna get political because that always seems to get me in trouble, but we should be able to have conversations about things like this and not cry and scream and leave, you know, family gatherings. Like, we should be able to talk about this kind of thing, and everybody should be able to make decisions that they personally feel are right for them. When did everybody get so intolerant toward other people's opinions? Mom, why do you drink before big family gatherings?
Mom, why did you start drinking as soon as you found out the family was coming over for Thanksgiving?
Because every family always had that one that wants to start and bring up from your past and remind you of what you did. And I have to drink just so I won't kick her. It's always one family member every year.
Why did I relate to this so much? They're your family, right? So they know your deepest, darkest secrets. You will always be a child in their eyes, you know? Like, you will always be the kid that messed up, the kid that made the bad mistakes, etc., etc. You'll never be able to start fresh. They'll hold it over your head, mark my words. Am I the a-hole for exposing my future sister-in-law for bullying me in high school at a family event? Order! Yes, I'll get a small fry. In high school, I used to be friends with this girl, Anika. We were close until junior year when I discovered she'd been spreading false rumors about me. However, even after I stopped being friends with her, she continued to make up lies about me and make my life hell, right up until we graduated. We went to different universities and I'm in my mid-20s now. My older brother, Carter, went to the same university as Anika. Bro. Recently, he announced that he had gotten engaged to his girlfriend. Our family was happy for him, but we were surprised at the same time since we didn't know he was dating anyone. Oh God. Oh no. Oh my, the things I would do if I found out that my brother was dating my high school bully, well, one of my high school bullies. He said he'd introduce her at an upcoming family party. The party rolled around and guess who walked in the door with Carter? Anika. I honestly thought I was hallucinating and I felt sick seeing her again. Carter left Anika with some relatives, then came over to me and asked to talk. We went to another room and Carter explained that he met Anika at a party and didn't recognize her, but it was love at first sight. After he found out her full name, he realized it was the same Anika who spread lies about me. He confronted her and she claimed to not remember me or anything she did. He let it go because he really liked her. He then pleaded with me to just be nice to her since she didn't remember. How convenient we don't remember the bad things that we do to other people. I just told him I needed a moment to myself to process everything. When I eventually went back to the party, I decided I would ignore her. I didn't say anything rude, I just didn't talk to her or acknowledge her. She didn't talk to me or acknowledge me either. But when we sat down to eat, all hell broke loose. Oh God. Oh. Bring on the hell! One of my aunts asked me how I felt about my brother getting married. I tried changing the subject, but she kept pressing. So I eventually snapped and said something like, I actually don't feel great about it considering his future wife bullied me and never apologized. Everyone turned to look at Anika. She started crying and ran out of the room. So you do remember. Carter went after her, they left early. The rest of the night was chaotic because everyone was asking me what happened, and I told them. Later, Carter called me and said I was a horrible person for embarrassing Anika in front of the whole family and I was being petty over high school drama. I'm sorry, that stays with you for the rest of your life, and yes, I'm still petty about it. You know, there's been a few people who've contacted me and apologized later in life, and I appreciated it immensely. But it was never the people that were outright horrible, just maybe the innocent bystanders that did nothing to help, or the people that just went along with the bullies because they felt, they just wanted to be part of the cool gang. He demanded I apologize to her. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Absolutely not. The fuck? I refused and said he was the awful one for blindsiding me with this. Yeah, it would have been nice to know before you showed up to a family gathering. And that if she never bothered to reach out and apologize for what she did while they were dating, I wasn't gonna let it go now that they were engaged. He kept insisting she didn't remember and she can't apologize for something she doesn't remember, but I think that's BS. I ended up hanging up on him. I'm sorry, if she cried and ran out of the room, that's guilt. That is guilt. Why didn't she say she didn't remember then? The way I see it, I was asked a direct question and I provided a direct answer. Also, I don't think I have any obligation to cover for her when she made my life hell, especially when she was obviously lying about not remembering. Am I the a-hole? You're not. If your brother still marries this person, not only did she bully you, but she also lied about bullying you. It's just it's off to a really, really bad start. My thing is if she apologized, maybe she has changed. You know what I mean? It's nice when an apology isn't prompted, right? Because then it's oh, you're not sorry. You're just sorry that you got caught. You should apologize for things without someone, calling you out, etc., etc. If she apologized, there might be hope, but I'm sorry. As someone who carries that shit with her, I still think about it sometimes. Forgive, but don't forget. Not the a-hole, I don't buy, she doesn't remember. Plus your brother did and chose to ambush you at the family event. Yeah. I think your brother should apologize for ambushing you.
Everybody apologize. Everyone. You're all guilty.
Right? Did she have some traumatic brain injury that caused her to forget her high school years? Does she not consider how she acted bullying so she doesn't remember bullying OP? Let's assume that the fiance really does not remember. Traumatic brain injury or something.
Whatever, okay?
The brother reminded her, told her that she hurt her sister badly. Anyone who is not a bully would have reached out and apologized before the big family meeting. Did she think everyone would share? Or just collective, amnesia. I don't remember a lot from my childhood, but you always remember the people that treated you badly. And well, too. I remember the people that treated me well, but I never forgot. First and last names.
So y'all said y'all wanted to hear some more about my daddy. I got plenty. So this is about the time that me and my mama came to Alabama to visit my grandparents, and my daddy stayed back home in Kentucky and threw a wild party. Now, y'all know in the last story I told y'all my daddy was in the military. So we were stationed in Fort Knox, Kentucky. We lived on base. We lived a nice little life. So while me and my mama were here in Alabama, my daddy was back in Kentucky living his best life. Now, my mama is one of those types of people. She don't like a lot of people in the house. She's still like that to this day. So before we left, she told my daddy, she was like, hey, if you want to have a couple of your friends come over, the guys that she knew that he hung out with, yeah, okay, cool. But don't have a lot of people in this house while I'm gone. He was like, okay, babe. Child, no sooner as we got down the road, he was calling everybody like, hey, pull up. So we get back on Sunday. Now, my daddy is waiting on us at the door. Now, one would think he's a loving husband and father, and he's just waiting on us because he missed us. No, he was waiting on us because he was trying to see if my mama knew what he had been doing, because we had a real nosy neighbor, and she used to tell my mama everything. So we get in the house, and I go upstairs to my room, because I really love my room. So I go upstairs to my room, and I sit on my bed, and my bed is wet. So I call my mama. I'm like, Mom. So she comes upstairs. She was like, what's wrong? I was like, my bed is wet. She was like, your bed wet? So she pulls the comforter back. Y'all, why my Winnie the Pooh sheets got a big yellow piss stain? And they reek of piss if they're still wet. So my mama was like, oh, hell no. She called my dad. She was like, Antoine, get your up these stairs now. So he come upstairs, and he was like, what? She was like, why is Portia's bed pissy? He was like, her bed ain't pissy. She was like, man, her bed is pissy. And he was like, I let my homeboy stay over here. He got drunk. He must have did. He didn't tell me he pissed in the bed. My mom was like, So, of course, she didn't believe him. She gave him the side eye like she knew that he was lying. So the next day, my daddy goes to work. The neighbor comes over. She was like, oh, your husband threw a party this weekend. And I had to come over here because it was just so noisy. So my mama was like, oh, he did he?
Dealing what? Dealing pee? Please tell me that pee was just from your drunk friend, sir. Please tell me it was just from your drunk friend. Oh God, moving on before I see yellow dollar signs all night long. It would be such a shame if this got back to my grandmother's friends.
My paternal grandmother refuses to acknowledge that I exist because she doesn't want her friends to know that she's old enough to have a grandchild my age. My mother and father divorced when I was 18 months old, and I met him for the first time in 2019 while he was on hospice. He died 2 months later. When I was 18, the first thing I did was dive into finding my father. In my mom's desk, I found a file with his name on it, and inside was years of legal paperwork. I mean, she's a hoarder. One of them had listed my grandmother's name and phone number. I didn't know it was my grandmother at the time. I thought it was a girlfriend. So I called her up and I was like, hi, my name is Danielle and I'm looking for my father. And she said, and I will never forget it. I mean, this was in like the year 2000. She said, I knew you were going to call eventually. And then she told me that she's my grandmother. And I was like, whoa, crazy, right? So she came to my high school graduation, which is when I met her for the very first time. And then after that, she told me by phone that I was too old, that she was too old to have a grandchild that was my age and that we could be friends, but I would never be allowed to meet my uncles, my father's brothers, and I would never be considered her grandchild. And I told her I have no use for a 65-year-old friend and really never spoke to her again. I didn't even talk to her when my dad died. I did, however, speak to one of my uncles when my dad died by text, but then he gave my dad a funeral without inviting me and then blocked my number.
So let me get this straight. Your paternal grandmother doesn't want to be your grandmother because she's lying about her age, and you being older than what she claims would be a normal age for a grandchild would expose her? What in the actual Good golly gosh, that is bizarre. This is why you shouldn't lie. It always comes out. The truth comes out. Imagine thinking that your age and lying about your age and the facade about lying about your age is more important than having a granddaughter and being in her life. How are you not embarrassed? Well, she's embarrassed, clearly.
Lessons in not crossing a gay man. So my sister decided she was going to steal a Louis Vuitton wallet from me, and then months later was dumb and posted a photo of it to Facebook. So I call her and confront her and tell her I want it back, which was a huge inconvenience to her. And she said that she'll bring it back to our parents. She ends up going to my parents, but not leaving the wallet on purpose. So I text her and she ignores it. So I tell her if I don't get it back, I'm gonna call the police. Here's where she really messed up. She said, "You aren't my priority, so send the cops to my work at a bank." So what did I do? I called the cops.
Yeah!
Sent them to her work to collect my wallet. And now she's trying to spin the story that I'm the bad person. Except I have receipts.
Is that the wallet? Is that the wallet? Dang. Oh, it is the wallet. It is the wallet. Found the cutest little ice cream shop.
You gotta be some kind of stupid to steal something and then photograph yourself with the stolen item.
Imagine calling the police on your own family. Like, damn. I'm glad you got the wallet back, babe. Sorry you had to go to war over it. Like,
Family. Can't live with them, can't live without them, but you sure as can complain about them on the internet.
subscribe.